back to my channel. If you are new here, hello, my name is Shania. Thank you for clicking on this video. And if you are not new here, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a two-in-one. As you know, I have not been really posting very often, so I didn't do my wrap-up for July or August. So we're gonna do that now, and since it's nearing the end of September, I'm also just gonna throw in my October TBR because why not? Kill two birds with one stone. Also because I didn't read very many books in July or August, so it would have been a very short video anyway, so might as well just do them together. So that's what the plan is for this video. The first thing we're going to do is talk about the books that I read the past 2 months. So I read 2 books in the month of July, which is not very much. I am getting back into like my reading after like adjusting to a full-time schedule and moving and all of that. I'm getting into it, like I'm getting back into the groove of things now, but before I was definitely like not reading as much. So I only read 2 books in July. The first book I read was Make a Scene by Mimi Grace, and I gave this book a 4.25 stars. It was cute. It's a very short novella. I think it's a novella. No, it says it's a novel. It's very short though. I don't even think it hits 200 pages. 220 pages. So it's very, very short. In this book, we are following Retta, who is kind of going through her breakup, but her cousin ends up marrying her ex. Yeah, that's fun. She's also a bakery owner, and next door there's this gym that just moves in, and she's trying to find a person to, one, she's low-key looking for a rebound, but 2, she's trying to find someone who she can take to her cousin's wedding to kind of show like, oh, I'm not affected. And the person that ends up becoming the person that she chooses is Duncan, who is the owner of the gym next door. And so we're kind of just following through them fake dating, and as we know what happens with fake dating, but we're kind of going through all of that. I thought it was cute. I just think really with any book that's this short, everything feels rushed. With the book that is this short, I thought it was cute. I loved the fact that it was a boxer and a baker. I don't know, that combination really just was so cute to me. The fact that it was a Black love story was just great for me. I just think because it was so short, I was left wanting more. Like I wanted to know more about their families and all of that, but we just don't really get much. And I guess I shouldn't have been expecting much because it was such a short book, but I am going to finish the series because I did like this book for the most part. I really like her writing. It's just that I wanted some more, but there are 3 books in the series, so maybe the other 2 will see glimpses of Duncan and Retta, but I liked it for the most part. I thought it was really cute and cozy. They went to like this fall festival, or was it like a fair? I don't remember. There was a lot of cute moments in this book. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. 4.25 stars. Yeah. And then the next book I read in July was The Quiet Tenant by Clemence McAlone. I really like this book. I give this book a 4.75 stars. For some reason, it wasn't giving me the 5-star feels, and I have become more of a harsher rater when it comes to, honestly, any book, but when it comes to specifically thrillers, because they are my favorite type of book. They are my book. So I've become a little bit of a harsher rater, but I really enjoyed this. It just didn't give me the 5-star feels. And this book, we are following this man who is located, we're not really following, are we following Aiden? I don't think we really follow Aiden. But we are following the women in Aiden's life, right? So Aiden is a killer. He's a killer, and he has this daughter, and they live in this house. His wife just passed away. His wife just died, and he is keeping one of his victims in a shed. she, like, because he kidnaps them and then he kills them, right? So he's keeping one of them in a shed, and she's been in the shed for quite a long time, and they end up having to move. Aiden and his daughter Cecilia, they end up having to move, and he's like, well, I can't leave her in the shed, like, I can't. So then he ends up coming up with this story that she's a family friend or whatever, and she has to stay with them, right? So we are following the woman in the shed. I will not say any names. We're following the woman in the shed. We're also following this woman in the area that has a crush on Aiden, and then we get little points of view of other people as we get farther into the book. But those are the two main people that we are following, is the woman in the shed and the woman who has a crush on her. I think one of the main reasons why I really like this book is because, one, it's a psychological thriller, and we all know that those are my favorite type of thrillers. I can almost guarantee that if it's a psychological thriller, it's gonna be 4 stars or above, most likely a 5-star. But this is a psychological thriller, but also we are learning things as our main character is learning things, because we are in her point of view. We are in the point of view of the kidnapped, and so we're learning things as she's learning things, and that just I just really liked it. Now I will say, I think one of the main reasons why this wasn't a 5-star is because of the point of view of the girl who liked Aiden. She kind of annoyed me. But that, I mean, that's just a me problem. She was just annoying to me. I don't know if she was annoying to everyone else. But I did really like this book. I liked the what's the word? I liked the effect that the setting had on this book, because I think it was a very, I think it played a part in the book. We are in the book takes place in upstate New York. I'm not sure where. It just says a town in upstate New York. I don't remember them actually saying what town it was. I used to live in upstate New York, so I know the weather and how it goes up there in New York. And it played a really good, it definitely added something to the book. It kind of added an eeriness to the book, because we are in like the winter months. I think it definitely takes place sometime in the winter. I'm not sure if it's like November, October, but it's definitely the winter, because they talk a lot about hot chocolate. I don't know what is the obsession with hot chocolate, but we talked a lot about hot chocolate at one point of this book. And so I know that it was like the winter time, and it definitely added something to the book, that winterness, the cold, the eeriness, and I really liked this. I don't want to say too much, because I don't want to give any type of like insight into this book, because I am a firm believer that going into thriller books blind is the way to go. But this was a 4.75. I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend this book. This is the first book that I read by this author. I think she wrote another book, or maybe that's a different person that I'm thinking of. Oh wait, no, I think this is the debut of Clemence Miquelon. Let me see. So it's not saying anything about this being her debut, but I have a feeling that this is the debut. And if so, it's really good, and I want to read more by this author, because it was just so good. So I also realized that I really like books about, like, it's gonna sound really bad, I like books about like killers or like whatever, but told from the points of view of the people around them, because I feel like that gives us more insight if it's told from the people around them and not by the person itself. I think that's one of the reasons why I really loved Notes on an Execution by Danya Kokaka, because it was told by the women in his life. Specifically when it's told by the women in the person's life, I really enjoy that. But that's one of my favorite books of the year. So good. But yeah, that's my thoughts on my July reads. As you can see, it wasn't very many, but now on to August reads, which again was only 2, but 2 books that I really loved. The first book that I read in the month of August was Next of Kin by Hannah Bonam-Young. This was indeed, I will say, the two books that I read on my August TB, or on my August, goodness, I promise I know how to speak English. The two books I read in August were books that were on my August TBR. Got it. Okay, Next of Kin by Hannah Bonam-Young. We know I love Hannah Bonam-Young. I love everything about this lady's writing. I do. And that did not change with this book at all. Loved the writing, loved our characters, loved the plot of this book. I feel like the found family in this book is top tier. Top tier, because we are following, what's her name? Chloe and Warren, and they are both trying to get custody of their siblings, right? So Chloe has a mother who is just not doing the greatest, and she has a baby, and Chloe is trying to get legal custody of this baby, right? Warren is trying to get legal custody of his 15-year-old deaf little brother. So they're both trying to gain custody, and in order for them to get custody, one of them has to have a place to live. So Warren needs a place to live. Chloe needs to have a what's the word? She needs a steady income, like a steady income. That's the word. And so Warren has a steady income, but not a home. Chloe has a home, but not a steady income. So they pair up to basically prove that they can take care of their siblings, and they have what it takes for them to have them under their care, right? So that's what they're doing. And that could be a tense situation to be in, because it's a serious situation. They're trying to get custody of their children, or of these kids, so that they don't get sent into foster care. And so we're following these two characters, and both of them are trying to deny the feelings that they have for each other because of the situation that they're in, and because mixing feelings into that could cause issues, especially with Luke being, that's his name, right? I feel like his name is Luke. His name is Luke. I was right. So, especially with Luke being 16 and kind of knowing what could happen if they end up becoming in this relationship, right? So, that's kind of what's happening, right? But these characters are just so cute together. There was immediate attraction from the beginning, and I think both of our characters are so mature. They're mature for not trying to let their feelings jeopardize whatever is happening in the with the program, but also they communicate. And that's one thing I love about Hannah Bonam-Young book, is because she makes her characters communicate, and a lot of people don't. Like the third act breakup for, I don't want to say that. There is a third act breakup, as there is in most romance books, but it's not like every other one. But I really did like this book. Did I tell you what I rated it? 4.5. 4.5. It wasn't a 5-star, but it was pretty close to being a 5-star. And I can't wait to read the second book. I have no idea if it follows like one of her friends or something. I literally have not a clue in the entire world. I just know that it's like a companion novel. So I'm excited about that. This did take me like half the month to read. Reading has been difficult for me to fit into my schedule recently, but I'm getting better. But this one did take me a long time to read, but when I was reading it, Like when I was reading, I was into it, and I was reading a lot at a time. I just wasn't reading a lot of the time. So there you go. Last book that I read in August was My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. Kate Elizabeth Russell. Y'all, this book, the writing in this book, the subject matter of this book, I just think all of it was done so beautifully. I truly do. I think it was. Now, I rated this book a 4.75. I did. Now it's purely it's purely a me thing. I think that some of the ways I think the book was written beautifully. I do, but I guess I don't really, maybe it's not my place to just be like, I don't think this was, I think some things were a little disturbing and were approached in a way that maybe could have been better. But once again, I've never dealt with what our character goes through in this book, not even remotely. And so I guess in a way, like, is it really my place to be like, oh, this wasn't done delicately enough? I don't know. The matter, like, what the book is about in general is a disturbing issue. We have this character who has had a relationship with her teacher, who is indeed, like, I don't know, I think she's like 15 and he's like 40 something. Yeah, she's 15 and he's 42. That alone is quite disturbing. That is a disturbing age difference and situation. And so we're following her, and there's another timeline. So there's a timeline where it's her and her teacher, like, then, and then we have a now timeline where she's much older and her teacher is now being accused of, what is he being accused of? Sexual abuse. Sexual abuse by other students. And we're kind of seeing how she deals with that and how she's also now seeing her relationship with her teacher. I don't know. My reasons on why it's not 5 stars are purely subjective, are purely just my opinions, and obviously other people can have other opinions. I do think this is a really good book. I do think you probably need to be in a specific mindset to read a book like this, because it is very deep and it does touch on a lot of different topics that could be very triggering to people. Especially, so we're talking about trauma and how people deal with their trauma, and how they deal with their trauma may be different from how others deal with their trauma, and it causes them to react to how other people deal with their trauma. Because in this story we are following, what's her name? Vanessa. We're following Vanessa, and she's kind of dealing with how her relationship with this man was, and she does not see a problem with it, right? She's like, I was just so special. And then she sees how other people are reacting to what happened to them, and she's just like, well, the way she reacts is not surprising, was not surprising to me in any way, but it definitely shows that, like, when something happens to you, it will change how you react to how that same thing happens to another person, you know? It's very complex. It definitely dives deep on how emotions are shown and analyzed between this person and the next person and the next person and the next person, and also how a traumatic event then changes the relationships with everyone for the rest of your life. So but yeah, I definitely think this is a beautiful book, but a beautiful book that should be read at a time that you think you can handle it. Tread lightly is what I'll say. Tread lightly. But I do recommend it if you think you can handle it. But tread lightly. So yeah, those are the books I read in August. Only 2, but 2 really good books. I will say within July and August, I did not read as much, but I read quality books. Quality over quantity is my motto for July and August. September, I showed you guys my TBR. I just posted that not too long ago, and so you guys know what I'm reading. or what I should be reading in September. And now I'm gonna do my October TBR, which I'm really excited about. I'm not gonna lie, I had a whole plan. I was gonna choose my TBR by picking candy, and that's not how we're doing it anymore. We're just gonna do my TBR jar because it's just too much work. I don't want to go get candy. I'm not gonna eat it, so I'm just gonna choose it by doing my TBR jar, and we're just gonna do something simple this month. Maybe November will be different. Maybe we'll have like, I don't know, Thanksgiving food. Choose my TBR. I don't know. We'll see. But we're keeping it simple for October. Okay. My TBR jar. You guys probably, for you guys, it hasn't really been that long because I feel like I used this in like a recent TBR, but I haven't touched this thing in a long time. I touched it once when I moved because I had to put it up. Other than that, I haven't touched this thing, which is why it's low-key empty. And I need to refill it and make new prompts, but right now this is how it's staying. And oh, well, I think I'm gonna choose 5. And I'm gonna choose 5 books because I think I can handle 5 books. Maybe 6, but I'm not going over the 6. I'm not going over number 6. It's just not happening, and I'm drawing the line. Okay, I'm drawing the line at 6. So let's choose our very first prompt. This one it is. I haven't done this in a long time, so this does make me nervous. Oh, it's a Let a Friend Choose Your Book. That's gonna take a long time. I'm not gonna do that because that's gonna take a long time because it is currently like morning time, so they're either at work or they're at school. And I'm not gonna distract anyone. So we're gonna do another one. Oh, okay, we'll do this one then. Oh, it's a long one, which makes me a little bit nervous. What does that say? Can y'all see? Read from an author who blurbed a favorite book. So I need to find one of my favorite books in the entire world, which is not difficult. But finding an author that blurbed it might be. So we're gonna go and look. It's been at least like an hour since I filmed, or like since I filmed that last part. You guys wouldn't know, but I know, because I was looking for, apparently a lot of books that I have don't have blurbs on them, like on the outside, and that's what I was looking for. And I was looking for a specific author, didn't get her. I was looking for Susan Lee, who blurbed a book, didn't get her, but I got another one of my favorite authors, so it's all good. What's another thing? Oh, and then my mom came back with food, so then I ate. And then I was watching videos and listening to K-pop music. Speaking of K-pop music, did you guys know that P1 Harmony released an album? I knew they released an album. I was waiting for that album to drop. Waiting. Listen to it at 11:30 p.m. on Thursday because it came out. It was out in Korea, so it was out for me too before the 26th, like it said. Anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, it's an all English album. And then like a Spanish version of like the title track. Y'all, it's so good. Dancing Queen, it's so good. Anyways, that's besides the point. I hope they do Dancing Queen at the concert literally next week. Literally in a week. It's on the 4th, which is next week. I'm so excited. Anyway, that's besides the point. The prompt was the prompt was read from an author who blurbed a favorite book. So I was specifically looking for Susan Lee. Didn't get her, but I got someone just as amazing, okay? So the book that I chose that was blurbed was Red, White, and Royal Blue. And if you can see in this little red area right here, it says outrageously fun, romantic, sexy, witty, and thrilling. And you know who blurbed that? Look at that name right there. Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid, and we know how I feel about Taylor Jenkins Reid. I haven't given not one of her books below a 4.5. Not one. Only one book of hers that I've read. I was about to lie. So, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones, and One True Loves, those were all 4.5, I believe. But then the other books I read by her, guys, Malibu Rising and Carrie Soto's Back are my books. I know a lot of people who don't like Malibu Rising. I don't understand why. That is a great book. That is a magnificent book. Okay, but yeah, that's one of my favorites. And the book that I chose is, of course, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a new book. It's her newest book. And I've heard nothing but good things about this book, guys. I'm so excited. I have never been more excited for a book in my life. Is that a lie? Yes, it is. But I'm so excited, and that is all that I can focus on right now, is how excited I am for this book. I know it's like a love story. I think it's sapphic. If y'all don't know what that means, it's two girls. And I'm just so ready for it. I'm just so ready for it. Should I read you guys the prompt or the blurb? Should I read it for you guys? Oh my goodness. The people who blurbed this book, it's on the back. Kristen Hanna and Andy Weir. I have 2 of their books too. That's crazy. Anyways, let's read the blurb. It says, Joan Glynn has been obsessed with the stars for as long as she can remember. She's content with her life as a professor of physics and astronomy and as an aunt to her precocious niece, Frances, until she comes across an advertisement seeking the first women scientist to join NASA's space shuttle program. Suddenly, Joan burns to be one of the few people to go to space. Selected from a pool of thousands of applicants, in the summer of 1980, Joan begins training at Houston's Johnson Space Center. That was a tongue twister for me. Alongside an exceptional group of fellow candidates, Top Gun pilot Hank Redmond and scientist John Griffin, easygoing even when the stakes are high, mission specialist Lydia Danes, who has worked too hard to play nice, warm-hearted Dana Fitzgerald navigating her own secrets, and Vanessa Ford, the magnetic and mysterious aeronautical engineer who can fix any engine and fly any plane. As they become unlikely friends and prepare for their first flights, Joan finds a love she never imagined. In this new light, Joan begins to question everything she thinks she knows about her place in the observable universe. Then, in December of 1984, on mission STS-LR9, it all changes in an instant. Fast-paced, thrilling, and emotional, Atmosphere is Taylor Jenkins Reid at her best, telling a passionate and soaring story about the transformative power of love, this time among the stars. Guys, it sounds so good. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid and her writing and her historical settings, and I guess, okay, I feel bad calling like 1980 historical. Like, I feel like my mom was born in the 1980s. Like, I feel like that's bad for me to say like historical, but like it's not now. So like kinda, but like I feel like that's like not fair for me to be like, oh my gosh, historical fiction, because it's not historical. Like, it's not now, so I'm gonna continue to call it historical. It's new historical, okay? That's what we're gonna say. But I'm so very excited about this book. Also, look at these end pages. Not this. Love this color. Isn't that like the prettiest thing you've ever seen in your life? Because it might be the prettiest thing I've ever seen in my life. I love to look at the stars. I'm not really like super interested in like that type of science. Like, I'm not super interested in like earth science, star science, that type of science. I'm not super interested in. I like the animals, but I think it's interesting. I think all science is interesting, and I think star science is interesting, but I also think it like makes my head hurt a little bit, so I stray away from that. But I think I'm gonna join this because Taylor Jenkins Reid, so I'm so excited. Next prompt. I'm getting back into this, and I know I did this so much because I really enjoy this. Okay, we're gonna choose this one and see what it says. Y'all can see it first. A book you meant to read last year. So every single book on my shelf. A book I meant to read last year. Let me go grab a book that I meant to read last year. So I found a book. And this book I've been wanting to read for a very long time. I got this when I was in like college. I'm still in college. I got this my freshman year. right? In 2023. It's 2025. Indeed it is. And that book is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This is also a book that I think would be very good for October. I, for one, am not a mood reader. Or no, I'm, for one, am not a seasonal reader. So I could read any type of book in any type of season. Like, I could read a summer book right now and be fine. I could read a winter book right now and be fine. I could read a winter book in the summer and be fine. Like, that doesn't really affect my reading at all. But I do, one thing I like to do in the, like, closer to Halloween, I do like to read a horror book or a thriller book, because I like to be reading a thriller book on Halloween. And then for Christmas, I like to be reading a Christmassy book on Christmas. Other than that, I could be reading a freaking vacation romance right before Christmas. It does not bother me at all. But this book, I think, might end up being my, like, Halloween book. So I'm excited. It says, can you stop a murder after it's already happened? Late October, after midnight, you're waiting up for your 18-year-old son. He's past curfew. As you watch from the window, he emerges, and you realize he isn't alone. He's walking toward a man, and he's armed. You can't believe it when you see him do it. Your funny, happy teenage son. He kills a stranger, right there on the street outside your house. You don't know who, you don't know why. You only know your son is now in custody, and his future is shattered. That night, you fall asleep in despair. All is lost, until you wake, and it's yesterday. And then you wake again, and it is the day before yesterday. Every morning you wake up a day earlier, another day before the murder, with another chance to stop it. Somewhere in the past lies an answer, the trigger for this crime, and you don't have a choice but to find it. So I'm super interested, because it's like low-key a quest, but it's also a thriller. There's a lot going on, and I am all the way here for it. I'm here. I'm here, and I'm sad. And I'm ready to finally read this book. This book is also on my 25 books for 2025. So, killing two birds with one stone? I think so. I think so. Our next prompt, our third prompt. So far, we've gotten some great choices. Great choices. Let's try and find one all the way at the bottom. I want this one. This one right here. What does it say? Let my dog choose a book. Here's the thing. I have a drooly dog. And the moisture and books do not really bode well together. So I don't think I'm going to do that. Just because I don't want his drool on my book, guys. I really don't. If you guys know my dog, you know he drools. That's his thing. He's wet. He's a wet dog, okay? So, like, maybe I should just take that out forever. Because here's the thing, the way I would get him to choose is with treats. In order for him to get the treat, he has to open his mouth and put his mouth on my books, and his nose is wet and his mouth is wet and his drool. I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. I can't put my book's life in jeopardy like that. So, next prompt. I love my dog. I do. I love him to pieces, but that drool is something else, okay? What is this book? A book published after 2015. So that's like every book on my shelf right now. I think this will be easy. Actually, no, I don't think it'll be easy because there's so many books that I want to read. So I have to choose one, and that's the issue. Okay, let's go find a book, y'all. Alright, so I found a book. This book actually just came out this year, and I believe in May. I want to say it was May. Let me see. I actually can't tell, but I'm pretty sure it came out in May. This was the book that I was trying to get for the first prompt, where it was like, choose a book blurbed by this author, whatever. I was trying to get The Romance Rivalry by Susan Lee. I've been wanting to read this book since I got it, but I just obviously wasn't in the mood for reading, and then I was reading other things, and now I'm ready. We've come back to this. This book is a young adult romance, because I'm pretty sure she only writes young adult romances. But I've loved her other two books. Both of them were 4 stars and above. So I'm excited, guys. I'm excited. But this book does give me a bunch of tropes just thrown into one. Let me read it. It says, Irene Park loves romance novels so much so she's made a career of them as an online book reviewer with a massive following. But Irene's real-life dating story, non-existent. So when she starts her freshman year of college, she sets her sights on finding true love using the one thing she really understands, romance book tropes. Enter Aiden Gian, Irene's online book review rival and ultimate nemesis. When Aiden challenges her to see who can find love by trope first, he becomes the one person standing in the way of her getting everything she wants, both professionally and personally. As Irene tackles the challenges of college life and struggles to figure out what she really wants for herself, all while trying to fall in love, she realizes that her ultimate happily ever after has been right there the entire time. It just takes finding the right trope to realize it. So I think this is going to be cute, but I feel like there's going to be a bunch of tropes because that's how they're like competing, is by tropes. So I feel like it's going to be a lot of that, but I do think I'm really gonna like this. And I think this is the first time she's doing like college students. The other two books I believe for high school students, so this is college students, and I don't know if that's really gonna make much of a difference within like the storyline, but I'm a college student, so that is something that I am relating to. So I'm very excited for this book. The margins are huge. Do y'all see that? The margins are like huge on this book. There's not very many words on the page. But I'm very excited to read this. This is the third book. I'm so glad that I got this. This is definitely gonna get read. Yeah. Next one, our fourth prompt. This is going by quickly. Well, quickly for you guys. Not quickly for me because I've taken multiple breaks in between. Multiple. Oh, my jar just fell. I don't know. Oh, this is a reread. Okay. I got two. We're gonna choose this one, whatever this one says. It's upside down. I don't know what that says. A genre you don't usually read. Okay. Here's the issue. Here's the issue. I will read any genre. I will read any genre. And it's not like... I'm not picky about my genres. But if you guys know me in real life, you will know that I have recently dived into the self-help genre, which is crazy for me to even think about because I don't really read self-help. I read nonfiction, but I don't read self-help. But I've gotten a lot of self-help books recently, so I think maybe we read a self-help book. Maybe we put that on our TBR. I know exactly which one, and it's one that that doesn't really apply to me at all. But let me go. Actually, no, I'm not gonna choose that one. I'm gonna choose a different one. All right, so the book that I ended up choosing for, you guys just saw it, for a genre I don't usually read is The Book of Shadow Work by Keela Shaheen. This is a self-help book to unlock the true you. That's what this is. I'm sure everyone has heard about the Book of Shadow Work. I have the journal right next to me. This was a big thing on TikTok not too long ago, so I'm sure everyone has heard of it. I am trying to be the best me that I can be, and I feel like self-help books are going to be very beneficial for me at this point in my life. So I have been buying more. I haven't been reading them, but I've been buying them, and I guess October is the month we start that, so I can read this. It's really long. I mean, it's just talking about how this book is gonna help you, like every self-help book says. It says, the shadow is mysterious. It represents what we've pushed out of consciousness to hide. Our fears, traumas, addictions, projections, self-doubt, negative patterns, and also our lost talents, childlike joy, and unclaimed brilliance. Shadow work means inviting the contents of your personal shadow into awareness with appreciation and love. On these pages, you'll discover how millions have achieved inner freedom via shadow work, from the Gulf War vet who found his artistic gifts to the young woman who found her voice and reclaimed her truth. Opening the path to meaningful love, packed with analysis and insights from experts, celebrities, and everyday practitioners, this book leaves no stone unturned in unpacking the joys and troubleshooting the pitfalls of dedicated shadow work. You'll also find actionable exercises and strategies to help you navigate shadow dynamics in relationships, spirituality, technology, and society as a whole. Fans of the Shadow Work Journal will gain a deeper understanding of the principles behind the life-changing bestseller. Go on this quest to encounter unacknowledged parts of yourself and explore how they function with the aim of unlocking untapped potential. The end result is stepping into a shadow flow, living with true authenticity and wholeness as your best possible self. So, I'm excited about this one. I can't say that I'm actually going to read this because I actually am very intimidated by self-help books, because I don't necessarily have a problem with people telling me what to do, but kind of. Because in my head, I'm like, I know my problems and I know how to deal with my problems, but also like sometimes I know my problems, but sometimes I don't know how to deal with them. But I don't like other people telling me how I should deal with them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. I'm excited about it though. I'm just a little bit intimidated by it. We're now on to the 5th prompt, and this could very well be the last prompt we choose. Maybe. This one we shall choose. Oh, I just saw a title. I'll see what that says. Uses the characters' names in the title. Now I'm trying to think, like, do I have any books that uses the characters' names in the title? Because I feel like I've read them. Let's go see. Okay. I didn't even think about this book when I first heard the prompt. Like, this was not the book that came to mind. The first book that came to mind was a book that I already read, so obviously I couldn't have chose it. But this was not one, and I'm surprised because I've been wanting to read this book for so long, but it just didn't fit, right? Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati. I think that's how you say her name. Guys, I'm so excited to read this book. I have always been a lover of Greek mythology ever since freaking Percy Jackson. It's really because of Percy Jackson that I am the Greek mythology lover that I am. And so Clytemnestra is because I read The Song of Achilles and I was like, I need more. I need more. So then I started to reread Percy Jackson. I was just like, I need even more. I need something new, something that I haven't read before, right? And so I got this. And then I also got the Iliad. Then I also got the Odyssey. So we got a few. But this one I'm super excited to read because it follows Clytemnestra, hence the character's name in the title. Let me tell you I'm sure a lot of people know. Actually, I don't know if a lot of people know the story of Clytemnestra, but I feel like a lot of people do. It says, as for queens, they are either hated or forgotten. She already knows which option suits her best. You were born to a king, but you marry a tyrant. You stand by helplessly as he sacrifices your child to placate the gods. You watch him wage war on a foreign shore, and you comfort yourself with violent thoughts of your own. Because this was not the first offense against you. This was not the life you ever deserved, and this will not be your undoing. Slowly, you plot. When your husband returns in triumph, you become a woman with a choice. Acceptance or vengeance. Infamy follows both. So you bide your time and force the gods' hands in the game of retribution. For you understood something long ago that others never did. If the power isn't given to you, you have to take it for yourself. A blazing novel set in the world of ancient Greece and told through the eyes of its most notorious heroine. This is a thrilling tale of power and prophecies, of hatred, of love, and of an unforgettable queen who fiercely dealt out death to those who wronged her. I know the story of Clytemnestra. I know who wronged her. I mean, I don't know. I'm super excited about it. I don't know how to say the man's name. Argamnon? Aragmanon? I don't know. The man. I'm excited to see the inner workings of their relationship told through this story, because obviously it's a retelling. It's not obviously their story, but I'm excited. So this is our first fantasy. We have quite a variety of books on here. I think I'm gonna choose one more, and hopefully it's a small book that I can choose, but I'm gonna choose one more, and that'll make us have 6 books on our TBR, which I think at this point is doable because I'm reading a bit more, so I think it's doable. Let's choose uno más, okay? One more. The moment of truth. I need to make it a good one. Which one should I do? Which one's good? Okay, guess we're doing this one. What does it say? A book set in or close to my hometown. If you guys do not know, I was born in upstate New York, Buffalo, New York. So we need to find a book that takes place. I feel like the closest is going to be like a book in, like, I don't know, New York City or Pennsylvania. But like, what books are in Pennsylvania? Or Canada? Canada's pretty close. We could find a book set in Canada. Maybe, if I even have any books set in Canada. Because Canada's like right there. Pennsylvania, New York City. There's really not very many. I'm gonna go look and see what I can see, and we'll see if I come back with something in my hands. I don't know. So I picked a book which I wasn't expecting to pick at all, because when I said, I was being serious when I was like, what books take place in Pennsylvania, right? Like, I was being so for real, but I wasn't thinking about this book. And this book, taking place in Pennsylvania, makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know why it makes sense to me, but it does make a lot of sense to me. This takes place in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. I don't think I've ever been to Pottstown, Pennsylvania, but I've been to Pennsylvania, and this is about, like, Pottstown from Buffalo, New York is about like 6 hours, right? And then I also found a book, Fair Catch by Candy Steiner, that took place in somewhere in Boston, but that's about like 7 hours away from there, right? So I ended up choosing this book, the one that took place in Pennsylvania, and that book is The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. One, I've seen a lot of people talk about this and have been really intrigued by it, but also my mom was in the bookstore not too long ago, and she was like, have you read this book? And I was like, no, I haven't. And then she came home. I guess I didn't answer her in time, because she was like, she would have got it if I answered her on time, but I didn't. So she didn't get it for me. And then we went to the bookstore not too long after that, and then I got it for myself, because I was just like, I've been wanting this book for a very long time, so I finally got it. I know a lot of people don't like these type of edges of pages, but what are they called? Flocked edges? I love them. I think they're so cool. I love the texture of them. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the actual book. But I've heard a lot of good things about this book, and let me read the end, or not the end. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna read the back. It says, in 1972, workers in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, find a skeleton at the bottom of a well. Who the skeleton was and how it got there are 2 secrets kept for decades by the residents of Chicken Hill, the neighborhood where immigrant Jews and African Americans live. When the state tries to institutionalize a deaf black boy, it is Chona Ludlow, who runs the Heaven and Earth grocery store, and Nate Timblin, the black janitor at Moshe Ludlow's theater, who keep the boy safe. When the truth is revealed about the skeleton, the boy and the part the town's white establishment played in both. That sounded crazy. Let me redo it. It said, when the truth is revealed about the skeleton, the boy, and the part the town's white establishment played in both, James McBride shows us that even in dark times, it is love and community, heaven and earth, that sustain us. So I'm excited. It's like a murder mystery, but then it's also a historical fiction. Count me in. I'm so intrigued. I'm ready. And it also doesn't seem like it's that long. Actually, no, it's close to 500 pages or 400 pages. I got that, guys. I'm so excited to be reading this. This is one of the most recent books I bought, actually. Fun fact, it's probably the most recent book that I bought. I'm really excited to read it though. So that is the last book on my TBR, and I feel like we have such a variety of books today. I feel like we have such a variety, and I'm really excited to read all of these books. So let me do a little recap of all of these books that we have chosen today. So for the first prompt, that was read from an author who blurbed a favorite book. I chose Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. For the next prompt, which was a book you meant to read last year, I chose Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. The next prompt was a book published after 2015, which really just meant any book you want. I chose The Romance Rivalry by Susan Lee. The next one was a book with the character's name in the title, and I chose Clytemnestra by Costanza Costi. Then was pick a book of a genre you don't usually read, and so I chose The Book of Shadow Work by Keela Shaheen. And then the last prompt was choose a book set in or near your hometown, and I chose The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride, because this takes place in Pennsylvania and I am from Buffalo, New York. And I did check to make sure a book that was based in New York City wasn't closer, and Pottstown, Pennsylvania is 5 hours and like 43 minutes, and the fastest route from Buffalo to New York City is 6 hours and 11 minutes. So I'm still correct. So those are all the books that I will hopefully be reading in the month of October. And if you guys have read any of these books, tell me if you guys liked them. Also, if you guys have read any of the books that I read in July or August, tell me how you guys felt about those books. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.